The morning sun spilled golden light over the city as 16-year-old Ava Carter stepped out of her small apartment, balancing two grocery bags on one arm and clutching her worn-out backpack with the other. Her shoes had holes near the toes, but she didn't mind. She had learned to make the best of what she had. Every Saturday, she helped her mother deliver groceries to the richer side of town, a neighborhood she could only dream of living in. As the bus rumbled down the cracked roads of the south side and entered the sleek, tree-lined streets of the Billionaire district, Ava couldn't help but stare out the window in quiet awe. The houses looked like castles, marble walls, glass balconies, and gardens so big they could fit her entire neighborhood inside. But behind her admiration was a hint of sadness. She often wondered what it felt like to grow up without worrying about bills or to walk into a store without checking price tags. Still, Ava wasn't bitter. Her mother had raised her to be grateful and strong. The bus stopped in front of Ridgeway Park, one of the cleanest, safest parks in the city. Ava stepped off, clutching her list of deliveries. She had one more drop before heading home. The air smelled of flowers and freshly cut grass. Birds chirped. Everything felt peaceful, until something unusual caught her eye. There, sitting alone on a wooden bench under a cherry blossom tree, was a little girl, no older than 8. She wore a pale blue dress, white shoes, and a delicate sun hat. In her hands she held a small white cane, the kind used by people who couldn't see. Ava slowed down, her heart tightening. The girl looked lost, her tiny face turned toward the sound of the wind, her lips quivering slightly. Around her, no adults, no guardians, nothing. Just the soft rustle of leaves. Ava glanced around, half expecting to see the girl's parents nearby. But the park was nearly empty, just a few joggers in the distance. Something didn't feel right. She hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and walked over. "Hey there," she said softly, trying not to scare her. "Are you okay?" The girl tilted her head toward Ava's voice. "Hi, I'm fine, I think," she said quietly. "My name's Lily. My nanny was supposed to pick me up. She told me to wait right here, but it's been a really long time." Ava's brow furrowed. She glanced at her watch, 11:40 a.m. If Lily had been waiting that long, something was definitely off. "Do you have a phone, sweetheart?" "Maybe we can call your nanny," Ava suggested gently. Lily shook her head. "No, I don't have one. Daddy says I'm too young. He usually picks me up himself, but today he had a big meeting." Ava crouched down beside her, feeling an ache in her chest. "That's okay. I can wait with you until someone comes, all right?" Lily smiled, a shy but trusting smile. "Thank you. You sound nice." Ava chuckled softly. "You too." As they sat together, Ava couldn't help but admire Lily's calmness. Most kids her age would have been crying or scared, but there was something brave about her. She carried herself with quiet grace despite her blindness. Still, Ava couldn't shake a strange feeling, an instinctive unease deep in her gut. Something about the stillness around them didn't feel right. She glanced over her shoulder. The road across the park was too quiet, the trees too still, the air too heavy. And then she noticed it. A black van parked just beyond the park's iron fence. Its windows were tinted, and its engine was idling faintly. From the corner of her eye, Ava saw movement inside. The man in a grey hoodie sat in the driver's seat, pretending to scroll on his phone. Her pulse quickened. She looked back at Lily, who sat innocently twirling a strand of her hair. "Lily," Ava said slowly, "how long has that van been there?" Lily frowned. "I don't know. Maybe since before you came. I heard the engine a while ago." "Why?" Ava's stomach dropped. She couldn't explain it. But something about the van screamed danger. She remembered news reports, kidnappings, ransom cases, missing kids from rich families. A chill ran through her spine. She took a breath and tried to stay calm. "It's okay, don't worry," she said softly. "I just think we should move closer to the main road. It's safer there." Lily nodded trustingly, holding out her small hand. Ava took it, gently guiding her off the bench. Her heart was pounding now, not just from fear, but from responsibility. She didn't even know this girl an hour ago, yet something deep inside told her she had to protect her. As they started walking toward the park's exit, Ava couldn't help but glance back one last time. The van's engine revved quietly. A figure inside turned his head slightly in their direction. Ava's hand tightened around Lily's. Whatever was happening, she knew one thing for sure. This was no ordinary day. And as they stepped out of the park gate, she whispered under her breath, "I don't know who you are, little one, but I promise I won't let anything happen to you." At that moment, neither of them could imagine what was coming next. A chase, a kidnapping attempt, and the kind of bravery that would soon make headlines across the nation. Ava's heartbeat echoed in her ears as she guided Lily carefully toward the park exit. Her hand trembled slightly, but she tried to sound calm. "You're doing great, Lily. Just a few more steps, okay?" The little girl smiled faintly. "You sound nervous. Is something wrong?" Ava hesitated. Should she tell her the truth? That a strange van had been following them. She didn't want to frighten her. No, nothing's wrong," she lied softly. "I just think it's better if we wait for your nanny somewhere busy. Maybe near the coffee shop across the street." But even as she said it, she knew they wouldn't make it that far, because the black van's engine suddenly growled louder. Ava's head snapped toward the road. The van door slid open slowly, almost silently, and a tall man in a grey hoodie stepped out. He looked around as if pretending to talk on his phone, but his eyes locked on Lily like a hawk. Every instinct in Ava's body screamed danger. The man started walking toward them, steady, confident, pretending to be casual. Ava's breath hitched. Her palms turned sweaty as she whispered, "Lily, we need to go right now." Lily frowned. "But no time to explain," Ava said quickly, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "Hold on to me tight, okay?" Lily clutched Ava's arm as they began to move faster, almost jogging. Ava's heart pounded so hard it felt like her chest might burst. She glanced back once. The man had quickened his pace too. Then, as if on cue, the van started rolling forward, slowly following them along the edge of the park. Ava's fear turned into pure adrenaline. "They're following us," she whispered. "Don't let go of my hand, Lily." They broke into a run. The sound of their footsteps echoed through the park path. Birds scattered from the trees. A couple of people turned their heads, confused, but no one stepped in. To them it probably looked like two kids playing, but Ava knew better. She could hear the crunch of heavy boots behind them. "Faster now, stop them!" A deep voice shouted from behind. Lily gasped. "Who was that?" "What's happening?" Ava didn't look back. "Don't be scared." "Just run!" she yelled. They darted down a small dirt trail through the trees. Ava's backpack bounced painfully against her back, but she didn't dare drop it. It held her mother's grocery money. She pushed through, weaving between the trees, guiding Lily with her hand, whispering directions. "Step left. Now right. Careful, there's a branch." Behind them, she could hear at least two sets of footsteps, adult men, heavy and fast. The van's tires screeched as it cut around to the next park entrance. Come on." Ava muttered under her breath. They burst into a small clearing near the fountain at the park's center. The wide-open space offered no cover. Ava scanned frantically for anywhere to hide. Benches, bushes, anything. Then she spotted it, a low concrete tunnel under the fountain, a maintenance access she'd once seen kids use as a shortcut. "This way," she said, pulling Lily toward it. The men shouted again, closer this time. "Hey, stop running!" Lily whimpered. "Ava, I'm scared." "I know, baby, I know. Just a little more," Ava said, voice shaking. She ducked into the tunnel, pulling Lily in after her. The inside smelled of wet stone and rust. Darkness swallowed them, but Ava held Lily close, placing a finger over her lips. "Shh!" The footsteps thundered past above them. Ava could hear muffled voices. She couldn't have gone far. "Split up, check the other side." The sound of running faded gradually. For a long minute, Ava didn't move. Her chest rose and fell in silence, her breath trembling. Finally, when the park seemed quiet again, Lily whispered, "Who were they? What do they want?" Ava hesitated, afraid to say it out loud. "I don't know," she said softly. "But I think someone's trying to take you." Lily's small hand tightened around Ava's. "Why? I don't even know them." Ava bit her lip. "Maybe it's not about you. Maybe it's about your dad. My daddy?" Lily's voice cracked. He said bad people might try to hurt him because of money. "But I didn't think—" She trailed off, her breathing shaky. Ava reached out and hugged her tightly. "You're safe with me, okay? I promise." Lily nodded, burying her face in Ava's shoulder. Despite the fear, Ava felt something powerful stir inside her. a fierce determination she'd never known before. She had no idea who these men were or what they wanted. But one thing was clear. She wasn't going to let them win. Not today. After a few tense minutes, Ava peeked out from the tunnel. The park seemed empty again, but she knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. She needed to get Lily somewhere safe and somewhere with people. "All right," she whispered. "We're going to move again, okay?" Quietly this time. Lily nodded, trusting her completely. As they crept out from the tunnel and slipped into the shadow of the trees, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching. Her instincts were right. Behind the fence, one of the kidnappers lifted a walkie-talkie and muttered, "We've got eyes on them. Don't lose the kid." Ava didn't know it yet. But this was only the beginning. And as she led Lily deeper into the maze of the park, the black van slowly rolled forward again, a silent predator stalking its prey. Ava's lungs burned as she gripped Lily's hand and ran through the park's winding paths. The air was thick with tension. Every rustle of leaves, every distant shout, made her heart skip a beat. The men were still somewhere behind them. She could feel it. "Just trust me, Lily," she panted. "I won't let them take you." Lily's small voice trembled. "I can't see where I'm going." "I know, baby, I know. Hold tight to my arm." "We're almost safe," Ava said, though she wasn't sure if she believed it herself. The park, once peaceful, now felt like a maze built to trap them. The laughter of children from a nearby playground, mixed with the growl of the van's engine somewhere beyond the trees. Ava's heart raced faster with every sound. She ducked behind a row of bushes, crouching low. Lily clung to her, breathing fast. "Ava, who are they?" "I don't know," Ava whispered, peeking through the leaves. One of the men was standing at the park gate, talking into a walkie-talkie. Another scanned the area, his eyes sharp and calculating. They were organized and professionals. Her pulse quickened. This isn't random, she thought. They planned this. She looked around desperately, trying to find an escape route. The park stretched wide and open on one side, with only a few trees for cover. The other way led toward the maintenance tunnels beneath the fountain, the same place she had hidden before. Her mind raced. "We need to move. Where?" Lily asked. "Somewhere they can't see us." Holding Lily's hand tight, Ava crept along the path, keeping low behind the hedges. Her every step was calculated. She'd grown up in a tough neighborhood. She knew how to stay invisible when she needed to. Just as they reached the corner of the park, the van roared again. Ava froze. It was coming their way, fast. The men had spotted them. "Run!" she yelled. They bolted out from behind the bushes, sprinting toward a row of food stalls near the park's edge. Ava's sneakers slapped against the pavement, and Lily stumbled once, nearly falling. But Ava caught her arm just in time. "Don't stop!" she shouted. "Keep running!" Behind them, one of the men barked into his radio. "They're heading east." "Cut them off!" Panic surged through Ava's chest. She didn't have a plan, only instinct. Her eyes darted around for anything that could help. That's when she saw it, the old public restroom building near the fountain. Its door hung half open. "Come on," she whispered. They dashed inside. The faint smell of cleaning chemicals filled the air. Ava locked the stall door behind them and crouched low. She could hear footsteps outside. The kidnappers were close. Lily trembled, clutching Ava's arm. "I'm scared," Ava swallowed hard. "Me too. But we're gonna be okay, I promise." She held her breath as the footsteps grew louder. A man's voice echoed outside the restroom. "Check in there." "The girl's blind. She couldn't have gone far." Ava's heart stopped. "Think, Ava, think!" Her eyes darted to a small window high above the sink. Tiny, but maybe big enough for a child to fit through. "Lily," she whispered urgently, "we have to climb out that window." "I can't," Lily whimpered. "I'll fall." "No, you won't. I'll lift you up." "I won't let you go." The doorknob rattled once, twice, then a hard knock. "Anyone in there?" Ava's hands shook, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Lily, now!" She boosted Lily up, helping her squeeze through the window. "Push yourself forward. That's it," she whispered fiercely. Lily slid out with a small thump on the grass outside. Just as Ava started climbing up behind her, the stall door burst open. The man in the grey hoodie lunged forward, grabbing the back of Ava's backpack. Ava screamed, twisting hard. The strap tore loose and she fell out the window, landing painfully on her side. "Run!" she shouted, grabbing Lily's hand again. They tore across the field. The men shouted behind them, and the van's engine revved once more. Ava's legs burned, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. The park's exit was just ahead, and beyond it the busy downtown street. Cars honked, people walked their dogs, vendors sold food. Crowds, Ava thought. They won't try anything in front of a crowd. She pushed herself harder, breath ragged. Almost there, Lily. Just a few more steps. But the van screeched around the corner, blocking their path. Ava froze. The side door slid open again, and two men stepped out, their faces covered with masks this time. One of them smirked. "Game over, kid." Lily clung to Ava, trembling. Ava's heart hammered. She was out of breath, out of options. But then she spotted a small side path, narrow, leading toward a drainage ditch under the bridge. Without thinking, she grabbed Lily and bolted left. The men cursed and ran after them. They scrambled down the path, mud splashing under their shoes. Ava's legs screamed in pain, but she didn't stop. She could hear the men behind her getting closer. And then she saw it. A thin crack of daylight through the end of the tunnel. The sound of traffic, freedom. "Come on, Lily. Don't let go." They burst out onto the sidewalk, startling a group of pedestrians. Ava spun around. The men had stopped at the tunnel's mouth, glaring, unable to follow without being seen. Ava fell to her knees, gasping for breath. Lily knelt beside her, shaking. "Are we safe?" she asked in a whisper. Ava looked around, cars, people, open space. "For now, yes, yeah," Ava said softly, though her voice trembled. "For now we're safe." But deep down she knew it wasn't over. The men would regroup. They'd come again, and Ava Carter, the girl who had nothing, would have to find the strength to outsmart them once more. The city noise still echoed faintly behind them. Car horns, chatter, the hum of traffic. Ava and Lily crouched behind a row of trash bins behind a closed cafe, both panting hard. The chase had left Ava's body trembling. Her shirt clung to her from sweat, and her knees were scraped from the fall in the tunnel. Lily clutched her white cane tightly, her face pale and frightened. "Ava, are they gone?" she whispered. Ava peeked around the edge of the dumpster, scanning the street. She couldn't see the black van anywhere. Her heart was still racing, but for the first time in what felt like hours, the air was still. "I think we lost them," Ava said softly. "But we can't stay here for long." Lily nodded, her small hands shaking. "Where are we?" "Behind some cafe near the park exit," Ava said, brushing dirt from her jeans. "We need to find somewhere safe. Maybe the police station." Lily flinched at the word police. "No, I can't. Daddy says we don't talk to anyone about him." Ava frowned. "Why not?" The girl hesitated. "He says some people don't like him. They might try to use me to hurt him." Ava sat back, puzzled. What kind of father told his daughter not to trust anyone, even the police? Something about this was bigger than she realized. She looked at Lily, this delicate, blind girl who somehow seemed to be in the middle of a dangerous secret. Then Lily's hand went to her pocket. "Oh no, what's wrong?" Ava asked quickly. "My necklace," Lily said, voice trembling. "It fell out when we were running." "But wait." She felt around and smiled faintly in relief. "No, here it is." She pulled out a small golden locket shaped like a heart. It gleamed under the sunlight filtering through the alley. Ava tilted her head, curious. "It's beautiful," she said. "Your dad gave you that?" Lily nodded. "He said if I ever get scared to hold on to it." "Because it's the most important thing I own." Ava smiled softly. "Because it reminds you of him?" "No," Lily said quietly. "Because of what's inside." She handed the locket to Ava. It was surprisingly heavy. Ava gently opened it and froze. Inside was a tiny photo, a picture of Lily, smiling beside a man in a tailored suit, standing in front of a massive glass building with the name Stone Enterprises shining across the top. Ava's eyes widened. She had seen that name on the news, on billboards on every tall building downtown. Richard Stone, billionaire, investor, philanthropist, one of the most powerful men in the state. "Oh my God," Ava whispered. "You're his daughter." Lily turned her face toward Ava's voice. "You know my dad." Ava's jaw dropped. "Everyone knows your dad. He's on the news all the time. He's like crazy rich. He owns half the city." Lily lowered her head slightly. "Yeah, that's what he says too." The weight of the realization hit Ava hard. The men weren't just some random creeps. They were professional kidnappers. This was a ransom plot. They had targeted Lily because she was the billionaire's only child, blind, innocent, and easy to lure away. Ava felt her stomach twist. Lily, this wasn't random. Those men, they knew who you were. They were trying to take you for money. Lily's lips trembled. I thought my nanny was coming. They said her car broke down. But when that man started walking toward me, Her voice broke and tears spilled down her cheeks. I was so scared. Ava reached over, wiping her tears gently. Hey, it's okay now. You're safe with me. Lily clutched Ava's hand tightly. But what if they find us again? Ava hesitated, looking out toward the street. She didn't know the answer, but one thing she did know. She couldn't let this child go through more fear. Not on her watch. We'll find a way, Ava said firmly. But first we have to get somewhere safe. Do you know your dad's number? Lily nodded quickly. Yes, I remember it. But my phone... I don't have it. My nanny always carried one for me. Ava dug through her pockets, pulling out her own cracked phone. The battery icon flashed red, 2%. She pressed the power button, praying it would last long enough. Okay, tell me his number, she said. Lily slowly recited the digits. Ava typed them in and pressed call. The phone rang once, twice, and then silence. What? Come on, she whispered. The line crackled, and then a voice answered. Deep, cold, male. Who is this? Ava froze. Something about the tone made her skin crawl. That wasn't her father's voice. It was someone else. She hung up immediately. Her hands shook. That wasn't him, she said in panic. Someone's listening, Lily gasped softly. What do we do now? Ava swallowed hard. We run again. We find help. Real help. Just then she heard the low growl of an engine from the end of the street. The same black van turned the corner, slowly creeping forward like a predator stalking its prey. Ava's stomach dropped. They found us. She grabbed Lily's hand, yanking her to her feet. Come on! They dashed down the alley, dodging garbage bins and jumping puddles. Tires screeched behind them. Ava didn't look back. Her lungs screamed, her heart pounded. But she pushed forward with everything she had. The city blurred around them. Neon signs, people. Chaos. But all she could think was one thing. I have to protect her, because now Ava knew who Lily really was, and what those men were willing to do to get her. And as they vanished into the crowded street, Ava realized something else. She was no longer just helping a lost girl. She was fighting a war against criminals who had everything. And she had nothing but courage. The sound of tires screeching behind them sliced through the night. Ava's pulse pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. She pulled Lily through the maze of side streets, her breath coming in sharp bursts. The black van followed, headlights cutting through the darkness like a predator's eyes. Keep running, Ava urged, clutching Lily's trembling hand. Lily stumbled, nearly falling. I can't see where we're going. I've got you, Ava said, wrapping an arm around her waist. Just trust me. They turned a sharp corner and ducked into a narrow alley, half hidden by trash cans and broken crates. Ava pressed Lily against the wall, both of them gasping for air. The rumble of the van grew louder, then slowed. Ava peeked out. The van stopped at the alley's entrance. Two men jumped out. They had flashlights, their beams slicing through the shadows. Her heart stopped. They couldn't have gone far. One of them barked. Ava pressed her hand over Lily's mouth, motioning for silence. The girl's small body trembled against her. The footsteps came closer. The men were checking every corner, kicking open doors, moving trash cans. Come on. Ava whispered under her breath. Just leave. A bottle rolled near their hiding spot. One of the men turned his flashlight in their direction. Ava froze. The beam hovered inches from their faces. Then a cat jumped out from a pile of trash, hissing loudly. The man cursed and kicked it away. Stupid animal, he muttered. They're not here. Let's check the next block. Ava didn't breathe until the sound of the van faded. Only then did she collapse to her knees, shaking. Lily reached for her hand. Ava? Are they gone? For now, Ava said, her voice trembling. But they'll come back. She looked around. They were in the back of an old building. Brick walls, cracked windows, a metal door slightly ajar. Come on, she whispered, helping Lily inside. The door creaked loudly as it opened. Inside it was pitch dark, the air thick with dust. It smelled like rust and rainwater. Ava used her phone's dying screen as a faint flashlight. The place looked abandoned, maybe an old warehouse. They moved through a maze of empty shelves and broken furniture until they found a small office space with a door they could close. Ava shut it quietly and slid a chair under the handle. Lily sank onto the floor, hugging her knees. "I'm scared, Ava." Ava knelt beside her, brushing hair from her face. "I know, honey. But listen to me. You're doing great. You're brave, okay?" Lily's voice was small. "Why are they after me?" Ava hesitated. She didn't want to scare her more. But she also couldn't lie. "Because your dad is really rich," Ava said softly. "And bad people think they can use you to get money. But I won't let them." Lily tilted her face toward Ava's voice. "Why are you helping me?" "You don't even know me." Ava's throat tightened. She thought about it, about all the times people had walked past her when she needed help. The nights she slept in shelters, invisible to the world. "Because someone should have helped me once," she whispered. "And no one did, so now I'm helping you." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Lily reached out and found Ava's hand, holding it tightly. "So you're my hero," she said. Ava smiled faintly, though tears burned her eyes. "Heroes don't cry this much," she said with a shaky laugh. Just then, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. 1% battery left. A text notification blinked across the screen. "Unknown number. We know where you are. Don't make this harder." Ava's blood ran cold. They were tracking her. She turned off the phone instantly. "They're tracing my signal," she whispered. "We have to move again before they find this place." But before she could stand, the sound of footsteps echoed from outside the office door. Slow, deliberate. Heavy, Ava's breath caught. She motioned for Lily to stay silent. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. The handle rattled. A man's voice came through, low and menacing. "You made this harder than it needed to be, girl." "Hand over the kid and maybe I won't hurt you," Lily whimpered, clinging to Ava. Ava's eyes darted around the room. There had to be another way out. She spotted a cracked window on the far wall, half covered by metal bars. She ran to it, kicked at the rusty frame. It didn't budge. The door shook violently. "Last chance," the man shouted. Ava grabbed a metal rod from the floor and slammed it against the window frame. The bar bent slightly. She hit it again and again until it snapped. "Come on," she hissed, helping Lily through the gap. The door burst open just as Ava climbed out. She heard the man shout, "There! Get them!" Ava and Lily landed hard on the wet pavement outside. Rain had started to fall, mixing with the glow of streetlights. They sprinted down a back alley, their shoes splashing through puddles. Behind them, voices yelled and boots pounded the ground. Ava's lungs burned, her legs ached. But she didn't stop. Not when Lily's small hand clung to hers like her life depended on it. "Hold on, Lily," she gasped. "We're almost there." "Where?" Lily cried. Ava didn't know. She just kept running. Through the dark, through the fear, because turning back wasn't an option. Somewhere in the distance she saw flashing lights, red and blue, police sirens. Relief surged through her. "This way!" she shouted. But before they could reach the street, a black SUV swerved in front of them, blocking the path. The door opened. A tall man stepped out, dressed in a suit, rain dripping from his face. His voice boomed through the chaos. "Lily!" The girl froze. Her eyes widened, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Daddy?" Rain poured harder now, drenching everything. The streets, the police lights, and the trembling little girl clutching Ava's hand. The tall man ran toward them, his voice breaking with desperation. "Lily!" Ava froze, still panting, unsure if this was another trick. She pulled Lily a little closer. But the moment Lily heard his voice again, she broke free and stumbled forward. "Daddy!" she cried. The man dropped to his knees, catching her in his arms. His designer suit soaked through instantly, but he didn't care. He buried his face in her hair, shaking with emotion. "Oh, thank God. Thank God you're safe." Ava stood still, breathing hard, trying to process what was happening. Her eyes darted around. Police cars had surrounded the area. Officers were rushing out, shouting orders, weapons drawn. The van that had chased them was being boxed in by squad cars, its doors yanked open as men in handcuffs were dragged out, yelling curses. "Daddy!" "It was Ava," Lily said through tears, pointing toward her. "She saved me." "She didn't let them take me." The billionaire turned his gaze toward Ava, and for the first time, she saw the famous face she'd only seen in newspapers and TV headlines. Richard Hale, tech mogul, and one of the richest men in America. His eyes, usually cold in interviews, were filled with disbelief and gratitude now. He stood up, rainwater dripping from his hair, and walked toward her slowly. You saved my daughter?" he asked, his voice trembling. Ava swallowed, unsure what to say. I just found her alone at the park. I thought something was wrong. Then those men." She shook her head, her voice breaking. "I couldn't just leave her." Richard blinked rapidly, almost as if trying to process that a stranger, a teenage girl from the other side of town, had risked her life for his child. He looked down, noticing her scraped knees, torn clothes, and muddy shoes. She looked exhausted and brave. He took a deep breath. "You're a hero," he said quietly. "You have no idea what you just prevented." Ava frowned. "What do you mean?" Before he could answer, one of the police officers approached. "Sir, we've captured the suspects, but there's something you should see." The officer opened the van's rear door. Inside were stacks of documents, a burner phone, and a briefcase full of cash. On the front seat was a file labeled Project Hale, Confidential. Richard's face drained of color. He snatched the file, flipping through the papers, and his hands began to shake. "No, it can't be." Ava stepped closer. "What is it?" Richard's jaw tightened. "This wasn't just a random kidnapping. This was planned by someone who knows my company. My routes, my daughter's schedule." He turned to the officer. "Who's in charge of these men?" The officer hesitated. "They refused to talk, sir. But they said they were hired by someone named Derek Cole." Richard froze. Ava noticed his expression shift, from confusion to rage to heartbreak. "Who's Derek?" she asked quietly. Richard exhaled shakily. "Micah, head of security." His voice cracked. "He's been with me for 12 years. He's like family." Lily's face scrunched up in confusion. "Daddy, Mr. Derek? But he's nice." Ava felt a chill crawl up her spine. "That means he knew everything. When you'd be away, where Lily goes, who picks her up?" Richard clenched his fists. "He betrayed us." His voice was low, dark, full of pain. "He must have wanted ransom, or worse, control of the company. I trusted him with my life." And with hers, tears mixed with the rain on Lily's cheeks. She clung to her father tighter. "Why would he do that?" Richard knelt and cupped her face gently. "Because some people see money, not love," he whispered. "But don't you worry, baby. He'll never hurt you again." He stood and turned toward Ava, his eyes heavy with gratitude. "If you hadn't been there, if you hadn't trusted your instincts..." His voice broke again. "I can't even say the words." Ava lowered her gaze, unsure what to do. She wasn't used to this kind of attention, or standing face to face with a billionaire. "I just did what anyone should have done," she said softly. Richard shook his head. "No, Ava. Most people would have walked away. You ran toward danger." He reached into his pocket, pulled out his business card, and pressed it into her hand. "When this is over, I want to see you again. You've changed my daughter's life and mine." Lily tugged on Ava's sleeve. "Will you come visit me?" she asked. "I want to show you my piano. Even though I can't see, I can play by listening." Ava smiled for the first time all night. "I'd love that." The police escorted Richard and Lily to a waiting car. As the door closed, Lily waved through the open window. "Bye, Ava. You're my superhero." Ava stood there, soaked, shivering, watching as the convoy of cars disappeared into the flashing night. The streets slowly emptied, leaving her alone with the sound of rain. For the first time since that morning, silence returned, and with it, the weight of everything that had just happened. She wrapped her arms around herself, tears of exhaustion mixing with the rain. Somewhere deep inside, she realized her life had changed forever. She wasn't just the poor girl from the wrong side of town anymore. She was the girl who stood up when the world turned away, the girl who saved a billionaire's blind daughter from a nightmare. And while she didn't know it yet, this was only the beginning, because the story was far from over. The real danger was still out there, and Derek Cole wasn't done. 3 nights passed since the kidnapping. The city had returned to its usual rhythm. Lights flashing, cars honking, people rushing by. But for Ava, nothing felt normal. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the van, the shadows, the fear in Lily's blind eyes. She sat by her apartment window, the moonlight reflecting off her face. On the small table beside her was a folded newspaper. The headline read, "Billionaire's daughter saved by brave teen. Heroic act stops $1 million kidnapping plot." Her name, Ava Carter, was printed beneath it. She still couldn't believe it. The media had exploded with the story. Reporters had shown up at her school. Neighbors treated her like a celebrity. But deep inside, she didn't feel like a hero, not yet. Because Derek Cole, the man who planned it all, was still missing. And she could feel it in her gut. He wasn't gone. He was waiting. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Her stomach flipped. She answered hesitantly. "Hello?" A cold voice spoke on the other end. "You've caused me a lot of trouble, Ava Carter." Her blood froze. Derek. She stood up, gripping the phone tighter. "You're going to pay for what you did, Derek. The police are looking for you." He chuckled darkly. "The police? They can't protect everyone forever. You took something from me, and I intend to take it back." "Leave Lily alone," Ava shouted, but Derek's tone shifted, calm and cruel. "Who said I'm after Lily?" The call ended. Ava's heart pounded. She knew what that meant. He was coming for her. Without thinking twice, she grabbed her jacket and ran out of her apartment. Her only thought, warn Richard Hale before it was too late. At the Hale estate, security lights illuminated the massive driveway. Men in suits patrolled the grounds, earpieces flashing blue, but something about their movements felt off, too quiet, too still. Ava arrived out of breath, soaked from the night rain. She rushed to the gate, yelling, "Please, I need to see Mr. Hale. It's urgent." One guard frowned. "Miss Carter, you shouldn't be here this late. Listen to me," she cried. "Derek's planning something." Before she could finish, a gunshot cracked through the air. The guard dropped instantly. Ava screamed, ducking behind the gate wall. Chaos erupted. Flashlights swung wildly as more guards shouted orders, but within seconds, 3 of them turned their weapons on the others. Ava's eyes widened. They weren't guards at all. They were Derek's men. Through the storm, a black SUV rolled up the driveway, stopping near the mansion steps. The door opened. Derek stepped out, dressed in black, his face half lit by lightning. "Where's Lily?" He shouted to his men. Ava, hiding behind a pillar, clenched her fists. "Not again. Not tonight." She spotted a small security radio on the fallen guard's belt, grabbed it and whispered, "Richard Hale." "This is Ava. He's here. Derek's inside your property." A voice crackled back immediately. "Richard's." "Ava? Get to the West Wing. I'm locking down the mansion." She sprinted through the rain, her shoes slipping on the marble path. Bullets cracked in the distance. The mansion lights flickered. Inside, alarms blared. Ava burst through the side door, chest heaving. She found Richard in the main hall, holding Lily protectively behind him. "You shouldn't have come," he said. "It's too dangerous." "I had to warn you," Ava said. "He called me. He's here for revenge." Before Richard could answer, the main doors exploded open. Derek stepped in, a gun in his hand, eyes burning with hatred. "Well, isn't this touching?" he sneered. "The billionaire and his little savior." Lily whimpered, gripping her father's coat. "Mr. Derek, why are you doing this?" His expression softened for a split second, then hardened again. "Because your father took everything from me," he spat. "I built his security empire, protected him, and what did I get? Nothing, just another man's shadow. You tried to kidnap a child," Ava shouted. "That's not justice, that's evil." Derek turned the gun toward her. "You should have kept your mouth shut, girl. You had your moment of fame. Now it's time you disappear." Richard stepped forward. "You'll have to go through me first." Derek laughed coldly. "Gladly." A gunshot rang out, but it wasn't Derek's. Ava had grabbed a fallen guard's taser from the floor and fired it with trembling hands. The electric darts hit Derek square in the chest. He screamed, convulsing, and dropped to the ground. Richard lunged forward, kicking the gun away. Within seconds, security stormed in, pinning Derek to the floor as police sirens wailed outside. "Get your hands off me," Derek shouted. "You'll regret this, Hale." Richard stared down at him, his expression full of disappointment. "You had loyalty. You had trust, and you threw it away for greed." As the officers dragged Derek out in cuffs, Lily ran into Ava's arms, sobbing. "You saved us again." Ava hugged her tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I just couldn't let him win." Richard stepped closer, his voice thick with emotion. "Ava, I owe you more than I can ever repay. Twice you've risked your life for my daughter. That makes you family." Ava shook her head humbly. You don't owe me anything, sir. I just did what was right. Lily smiled through her tears. You're my angel, Ava. My guardian angel. Outside, the storm finally began to clear. The first hints of dawn touched the horizon, and as the police cars drove away with Derek in the back seat, Ava stood beside Lily and Richard, realizing something deep within her heart. This wasn't about class, money or fame. It was about courage, kindness, and the strength to protect what's right, even when the world tells you to stay silent. The following morning, sunlight broke through the clouds for the first time in days. The storm that had raged over the city was finally gone, and so was the fear that had haunted Ava's heart. She stood on the balcony of a hospital room, her clothes clean, but her bandaged arm a reminder of everything that had happened. Down below, reporters and news vans gathered like a swarm, cameras flashing, headlines already calling her the girl who saved a billionaire's daughter. Twice. It didn't feel real. Just a week ago, she was delivering groceries to make rent. Now the whole country knew her name. The door creaked open behind her. You should be resting, came Richard Hale's gentle voice. Ava turned and smiled faintly. Couldn't sleep. Feels weird being safe again. He chuckled softly. I know the feeling. He walked up beside her, looking out at the skyline. You know, I built this city's tallest building, but last night I realized something. The real strength doesn't come from power or money. It comes from courage. And you, Ava, you showed more of that than most people I've ever met. Ava lowered her gaze, her voice quiet. I didn't do it for attention. I just couldn't let them hurt her. I know, Richard said, his tone filled with respect. And that's exactly why you deserve it. He pulled a folded document from his jacket and handed it to her. Ava looked confused. What's this? He smiled. Go full scholarship. Any school in the country. I've already made the calls. You won't have to worry about money again. Ava blinked in shock, her heart racing. Mr. Hale, I can't accept this. You can, he said firmly, and you will. You've earned it 1,000 times over. Her lips trembled. I don't even know what to say. Then don't, he said warmly. Just promise me you'll keep that courage. The world needs people like you, Ava. Tears welled up in her eyes. For so long she'd fought to survive, to be seen. And now someone was finally telling her she mattered. Just then a soft voice called from the doorway. Ava? Lily stood there, dressed in a cozy sweater, her eyes covered by new tinted glasses. She was holding a small stuffed bunny in one hand. Ava's entire face lit up. Hey, hero, she said with a grin. Lily giggled and ran forward, wrapping her arms around Ava. No, you're the hero, she said, her voice full of joy. Ava hugged her tightly, breathing in the moment. You doing okay? Better now, Lily said. Daddy says Derek can't hurt anyone anymore. Ava nodded. That's right. He's going to prison for a long time. Lily reached into her pocket and pulled out a small necklace, a delicate silver charm shaped like a heart with Braille letters engraved across it. This is for you, she said shyly. It says thank you. Daddy had it made this morning. Ava held it in her hand, her throat tightening. Lily, it's beautiful, Lily smiled. Now you'll remember me. Always. Ava knelt down, fastened the necklace around her neck and whispered, How could I ever forget you? Richard watched them silently, emotion flickering in his eyes. Ava, he said after a moment, I've been thinking. My daughter's been through something terrible. She's brave, but she'll need help, someone she trusts. Ava looked up curiously. You mean? He nodded. I'd like you to join us. Work for us, as Lily's personal companion and tutor. You'd live at the estate, continue your education and help her adjust to her therapy. It's not charity, it's a job, and I can't think of anyone better for it. Ava's jaw dropped slightly. You're serious? As serious as a man can be, Richard said with a smile. Lily clapped her hands, beaming. Please say yes. I don't want anyone else. Ava laughed through her tears. Well, I guess I don't have a choice, do I? Lily squealed, hugging her again. Best news ever. Richard extended his hand. Welcome to the Hale family. Ava. She shook it, still overwhelmed, feeling a warmth in her heart she hadn't known in years. Later that evening, as the sun set behind the city skyline, Ava sat in the mansion's garden beside Lily. The little girl played a soft melody on her piano, her fingers dancing across the keys like sunlight on water. Ava closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her. For the first time, she felt peace. Real peace. Her life had changed, not through luck but through courage. She had faced fear, stood against evil, and found family in the most unexpected place. Lily paused her playing and turned toward Ava. "Do you think everything happens for a reason?" she asked softly. Ava smiled. "I think sometimes life puts us in the hardest places so we can discover how strong we really are." Lily nodded slowly. "Then I'm glad you were there that day." Ava reached over, squeezing her hand gently. "Me too, Lily, me too." The camera of life seemed to pull back, two souls, one who couldn't see and one who finally felt seen, sitting under the same golden sky that had started it all. And as the final notes of the piano echoed through the quiet air, Ava whispered the words that summed up her entire journey. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they just show up.